Welcome. We're so glad that everyone's here. For those of you I haven't met yet, I'm Joel, the senior advisor on the success team here at Kilo. Today, as you know, we're going to be talking about branding, but not the way that most gym owners kind of think about that, because most gym owners are just thinking about their logo, their colors, maybe their website. But today, we're going to start to unpack that your brand is actually how people experience your business, often before they even walk through the doors. And the small things, things that you probably aren't even thinking about, are shaping whether people trust you, show up, and stick around. So today I have the pleasure to be joined here with Boris from Metcon Creative. Boris has spent over a decade in branding, and now he works with gyms to help them align what they say with what people are actually experiencing. So, Boris, I'm going to hand it over to you now to kick us off.
Sweet. Thank you for the introduction, Joel. Hi, everyone. I'm really happy you're all here. Let me share my screen here and I'll make my presentation full screen. Joel, you can see that. Hopefully everyone else can too. So yeah, thank you again, Joel, for the intro. My name is Boris. I am from Sydney, Australia. It is currently 5 a.m. I am carb loading for a half Ironman that I'm doing on Sunday, and I'm highly caffeinated at the moment. So if I say anything that's wrong, if I stumble over my words, let's blame it on any one of those things, okay? So I've run Metcon Creative for the past almost 10 years, 9.5 years. And in the last 6 or 7 months, I've been working with Kilo in their marketing team alongside Elsie, from everything from social media graphics, presentations, various design collateral, some of the lead magnets you guys have seen. And it's been a blast. And to talk about branding to people is just one of my great passions. And I'm hoping that in today's talk, I'm able to give you some insights that you maybe haven't heard before. Some stuff you'll probably be revisiting. But my intention is that you're going to learn about some of the common mistakes gym owners make. I'm going to show you real work that I've done for clients that are solutions to some of these mistakes that you can take inspiration from. And by the end of it, I know that you'll have a better understanding of what branding is, how it applies to your gym or your coaching business. I know not everyone's in a brick and mortar. And you'll have some steps to take away and things that you can action as of, after this call. I know it's the afternoon for you guys, so take the night off, but in the morning, you'll have some branding work to do. Uh, Branding has actually, like now in the advent of AI and all of that, come into a bit of question with, so much performance marketing going on and some people thinking if you just have the right paid ads, that the look, the feel, the sound, and the experience of your brand doesn't really matter. And you know what? Like, I'm divided. They might be true. Maybe it doesn't matter how things look, but I'm just really so happy that you guys are here. And if this was the look and feel of your gym and you're welcoming people, then it's probably not going to be too much of a positive expectation for them. So I do still think that branding and how things look, feel, and sound matters. So a bit about me. Like I said, I've been doing Metcon Creative for almost 10 years. Before that, I worked in various agencies doing everything from a school friend's air conditioning business cards to $50 million luxury real estate development branding. So I've been around in many things. Always been obsessed with fitness, always loved working out. I was a runner from an early age, and at about 17, I found the gym, and I trained in this like old school metal weights bodybuilding gym full of people who were mostly on steroids. Read everything I could on T Nation, and that was my first introduction to gym culture. And in 2011, I found CrossFit, drank the Kool-Aid really, really hard, and I actually did my level one. I dabbled in coaching. I would go to work, coach night classes, loved it. Took a few of the extra CrossFit courses like powerlifting and endurance, and really fell in love with how gyms can bring people together, and especially at the time, CrossFit was really the only one bringing people in who were so uncomfortable with being inside of a gym because it was very intimidating. And I saw how the power of a culture set around common goals like doing better exercise could really bring people in who really needed a gym, but were too afraid to walk into one. So I started coaching. I even dabbled with the idea of like quitting my design career and going into coaching full time. But I quickly realized that I was a much better designer than I was a coach. But it planted the seed of the idea of Metcon Creative, where on one side, you have people who really need the gym. And on the other side, you have these really good people who left profitable careers, who also drank the Kool-Aid as hard as I did and decided to open gyms and are really good at helping these people. And my hope was that I could create the brands that connect the two. So that's how I see what I do. I call it doing good work for good people because by and large, all the gym owners that I've met and worked with are just some of the best people, and I think I have the best clients in the world. I'll show you some of the work that I've done so we know what we're talking about. This is for Hydra. It's a gym out in Canada. Some of the most phenomenal photography that I've had the pleasure to work with, which makes my life a lot easier, but very clean, crisp, very descriptive of what the workouts are like. Beartooth Performance, this is a gym out in Montana. The brief here was basically what if a craft brewery was actually a gym? And so you could see why we lean into this like really kind of quirky, fun look. And one of the highlights of my career was creating this landing page that you see on the right, which we did for an April Fool's of like, what if this was actually a gym that trains bears? So that was a bit of fun that we had there. And then one of my other favorite projects, this is in Dallas, Texas. It was formerly CrossFit Dallas Central and run by Spencer Nix. And it turned into behavior and performance research. While we were doing it, brainstorming names, Spencer sent me this list of like 200 names he had come up with. And he said, I like behavior and performance research the best. And I said, Spencer, I know you pay me a lot of money. I have to tell you the truth. I don't think it's a good name. It sounds kind of like a government agency. And he said, that's exactly like, but what if a government agency was run by like vagabonds and people who really cared about health? And it just took the project in this really fun direction. And we leaned into that. So I guess I showed these three projects to show you how injecting your personality and your own flavor and vision can really create something interesting, and it's just been like one of the coolest brands to work on. Having said all of that, you might be getting the idea now that I've naturally been born with all this talent and this like sense of taste and how to put things together. And I just want to humble myself real quick because I used to look and dress like this, and this was the first logo that I ever got paid money for. And what you don't realize is home care floor coverings actually did carpet and vinyl. That's why you have the two lines. So that was the extent of my creative thought at the time. But I have been blessed to develop ever since, and it's been largely due to people like these. This is a selection of my clients, and first of all, they all have very beautiful photography and gorgeous smiling faces. But when I say good work for good people, I truly wanted the work that I was doing to make an impact, and working with people who care about others in such a deep way. And I know many of you on the call are inclined the same way, all of you. You just want to help people. You want people to feel what we all felt when we started getting fitter, healthier, changing our habits. And I credit it all to them. You know, they've given me projects that have allowed me to develop creatively. I've learned as much from them and gained as much from them as they have from me, and it's wonderful. So yeah, shout out to all my clients. Now let's talk about branding. First of all, let's talk about what a brand is. So when we think of brand, we often think of logos, colors, fonts, because that's commonly like what we associate with it, right? But a brand is actually something a little bit different. Now, how designers and brand strategists and consultants define brand largely depends on how much they're going to charge you. And the more they're going to charge you, the more complex of a story they start to put together around it. And the more, black rimmed glasses you start seeing in these high level agencies. But my definition is fairly simple. A brand is the perception of your business that someone has in their mind, from all the things they've seen, and that does include your logos, fonts, colors, etc., to walking past it, to hearing about it from other people. Essentially, it's the feeling that they have about your gym, about your coaching service, about whatever business you're running. So that's my definition. But it is also what we commonly refer to when we speak about the look, feel, and sound of a company. So we're not going to introduce another term. I'm not going to make you be like, now, we're not talking about brand like that. Like, I'm not going to police how you think of it. So, because when someone says, hey, man, I really like your brand, they're often referring to your cool t-shirt or the sign out the front. So it's still okay to refer to brand that way. Just understand that we have very limited control of how people actually like see what they're seeing about our company, and then take that away and form their own opinions. But branding is the act of influencing that perception. That's the action that we can take. And of course, we want them to have a positive perception of our business. And to that end is where we do things that include, setting out your brand mission, vision, values, putting it out there. This is what I believe. This is what I want to create in the world. Your logos, colors, fonts, layouts, all the visual stuff, the fun stuff like your apparel, your signage, the look and feel of the gym, the equipment that you have. And then, of course, the kind of promotional side of content, videos, photos, stories, and then your website, which is a huge part, even in this age of AI, even in this age where they're saying all you're going to need is a Facebook page, all you're going to need is a Google listing. The website remains the one true digital home that you can control and put out there and tell your story on appropriately. So there's always some question around which part is branding, which part is marketing, which part is advertising. And I define branding as the look, feel, sound, and influence we're trying to create of that perception. The marketing amplifies all the good stuff that's created in the brand identity. And then the advertising is attention that you pay for, designed to persuade and actually call them to action. And when we frame it like that, you see they're not separate at all. They're actually part of a functioning system. And when you nail all three, that's when you're getting consistent leads. That's when people are sending in referrals. That's when everything kind of comes together and works together beautifully. When you try to remove one of the pieces and just do that, it's not really as strong. So pay attention to all three. There's no war going on between paid marketing and branding and all that sort of stuff. They all need to work together. Now, I'll lay the foundation for some rapid fire branding truths so that we're all talking about the same stuff, and then we'll get into some of the mistakes and the corrections and all that sort of stuff. So aesthetics matter. Love is not blind. No matter how many seasons of this show they put out, and admittedly I watch with my wife, aesthetics do matter. You have to have a brand that looks good on first sight for them to actually want to know more about it. So how things look and feel does matter a lot. Authenticity is king. I don't know if you guys have heard, but Nike recently ended their 3-year experiment into opening and running gyms. So they are the biggest marketing machine in the world. They have some of the most amazing campaigns that have ever been created. And you guys are doing better at running a gym than they are. Credit to them. They tried and they set themselves goals, and they said, if we don't meet those goals, we're going to take it out the back, shoot it. They've done that. But I want you to know that your authenticity is your greatest tool against some of the bigger players who are inevitably already in the game or coming into the game. But if you could be yourself and send it a little bit more with your brand, then you're going to be in a position to win. That's actually your greatest asset. And the point of branding is to stand out, right? Like, we don't want to be the same. If someone comes to me and they say, "Oh, there's this gym down the road. They have all Rogue equipment. It's all black and white, and like I really like their look and feel." We're going to do something that's really opposite to that. Because if you just blend into all the other things, all the other gyms in your area, or if you make the same content as every other coach, then you're just a variation on a theme. I want you to think of yourself as in a market of one, right? You're only competing against yourself. And because you're so unique, you stand out so much that there's no comparables. Of course, they're going to look at every gym in a 3 mile radius and see which one suits them best. But uh, if it comes down to, hey, what's the vibe of the place? I want them to resonate with yours the most, and you do that by standing out first and foremost. Friction is a killjoy. People don't think about this enough. They care about how things are going to look. They care about what the workout's going to be like. But outside of that, we forget that things like a booking form that's broken, or a calendar link that doesn't get sent to the email, or coming into the gym and no one's saying hello. You advertising, or we have a supportive community, and then there's clicks inside. All of that creates friction. Some of it's big, some of it's small, but it really kills the vibe of being in there. And this isn't something that clients are necessarily going to communicate to you, but they do feel it. And we know that to be true because almost every business we interact with, including the people who interact with mine, there are some points of friction, and it does kill the experience. So, as much as you can, take a microscope, look at everything, and see where the friction is. And if you remove it, you get a much better experience, and you have a much better chance of influencing that perception. Photography is underrated. If you have a budget and you're deciding between spending money on branding or brand identity or photography, go with photography every single time. I cannot, my wife will attest to this. I cannot take a photo to save my life, but hire a photographer. So I'm actually actively going against myself, but photography is underrated. The picture is worth 1,000 words, and it could just tell so much about you and influences that perception more than anything when the photography is of a high quality. So lean into that. Culture has to be
All right, can
set to
I
be
jump in on that?
desired.
Because I feel like that one is huge right there. I want you to like,
The photography one?
yeah, because like, right, I think that's one thing that we see as well a lot is like people are given like stock images and stuff like that. So like, I just wanted to drill that in because I think that's such
Yeah,
a huge. I don't want to fly by that, like the importance of getting unique photos on your website.
yeah. And it literally is the absolute, like it's the best lever you can pull. And it's not as expensive as other things that you can do in your business to promote yourself, because you can even get the really good wedding photographer in town who is probably shooting all weekend, editing Monday, Tuesday, but Wednesday, Thursday, they might be a little bit quiet. So they can come in, shoot a class, shoot some of your headshots. Like there's so much you could do. You could find so much photography talent, that it's an absolute no-brainer. So yeah, thank you for stressing that, Joel.
Amazing. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Culture has to be set to be desired. So this one might ruffle some feathers. We all do this, right? We say our community, we have the best community. Our community is like they're so tight knit and it's like-minded people, and that is that's a game that you're playing, which sometimes has fire as an ingredient. And I think most people on the call have had either directly experienced this at their gym or have been at a gym where this has happened, where you quickly realize that a community is just a random group of people who are in there, and other than how to do the workout, they're not given much instruction on how to behave. And obviously, we're not trying to, run a daycare and tell adults how to behave, but there should be standards and codes, and so that that community that's in there knows how to behave to encourage new people. They know how they should, what will be tolerated, what will not be tolerated. And I use the picture of the All Blacks because their coach, I believe it was, wrote a book and famously said that everyone sweeps the sheds. So every single one, no one is above sweeping the sheds, the locker rooms, cleaning up after themselves. Like no one's there to serve anyone. Everyone's there to serve the team and the purpose. And I think it's powerful when you do that. And that's how you get the kind of place where people go, oh, I want to be part of that group of people. I want to belong to that. And that's only if you're very intentional with your culture. And from an intentional culture follows a great community. So that's something to keep in mind. Great branding repels people. And this one, we all do branding to attract people. So what the hell? But it should repel the wrong people. I know you've all had the experience of getting a lead and then they're just not a good fit. And the branding can actually filter those people out. right? You want to create it in a way that attracts the right people, but definitely also repels the wrong people and saves you, your coaches, your admin staff, your sanity of having to talk to people who are like, oh, it seems really expensive, or I don't think it's for me. It's like, well, yeah, it's a private powerlifting gym that's $400 a month. So it's probably not for you. And if the branding accurately reflected that, then they wouldn't even be there and everyone would have a better time. So make sure that your brand is also repelling people. This could be something that people are afraid of, but the more you lean into it, the better things become. And I'm sorry to say, AI ain't it. So I am not, I would say I'm like 20% loving AI and 80% hating on it just generally. I'm going to be honest with you. Just because it's at this point, it's great at some stuff and not very good at some stuff. It's really bad at differentiating you. You cannot plug in and get a brand identity out of it that's any good at the moment. That's just a fact. If one day that day comes, phenomenal. But at the moment, I would encourage you to use AI for research, for comparing yourself to other people in your market, for generating ideas, for bouncing things off it with great context. But I wouldn't want you to put things from AI on your blog straight content onto your Instagram page because we can all tell and it's generic. Like, I mean, it's a large language model, right? So it's drawing from everything else that's out there, and it's just going to make you look like everyone else. Even if you spend 3, 4 hours training it, it's still not going to get to that level where, it's going to feel human. And I used to be a huge stickler. My clients will attest to this. I used to DM them on Instagram, like, hey, man, you made a typo. Hey, people aren't going to trust you if you don't know grammar. I used to be that guy. Now, when I see a typo, I'm like, sweet, a human wrote this. Like, I'm in. So it's definitely changing the landscape. So the more, you can kind of run freely and flow with it and create the experience that this is a human being behind this business, the better. Don't blend in just because of AI.
And I think Boris, that's one thing
Yes.
that I talk with people often about is like I would rather nowadays see, shorter, like, oh, you feel so stressed out, but you get this like shorter blog. It's maybe a paragraph as opposed to like the AI
Yeah.
generated like essay that is out there. Because again, I think too on the back end that those gyms are also being rewarded for that like authentic human touch
Yeah.
putting on their website. So I think that's a huge piece for us as well, seeing.
100%. Like if you wanted a real low down dirty budget branding hack, like just write a post-it note every day at like 1 or 2 sentences and post that on Instagram. I guarantee you'll get more engagement than something that ChatGPT wrote. Just
Love it.
because it's unique. It's always
Love it.
like the goal is to stand out, and that's what's going to make you stand out. So we have that. But let's set some goals, right? So we're talking about all of this, and I know it can sometimes seem vague. Like, what's this guy trying to get me to do? So I have a very clear goal with every brand that I create, and it's to make it authentic, clear, and consistent. So authenticity, like I said, is key. You want it to feel original. You want it to feel like it might not be original in the sense of the world, right? Because there's so many cool characters around, but you definitely want to stand out in your market and you want to be true to yourself. This makes everything easier. And I've experienced this. Like I used to set up cameras and like lighting and do this really scripted video, and it would take 400 takes to get something out that felt a little bit mechanical. Whereas now I'll just pull up my phone, turn on the face camera on 3 hours sleep. I have a 6-year-old and a 1-year-old. So, and I'll record that and, it'll take 20 takes, but it'll get better engagement because it's authentic, right? I'm just being myself. So I encourage you to do that. And the second part is clarity. Like you want to be very clear about what it is that you offer, what the potential client is going to get out of it, and how that's going to happen. If you could just get that downloaded into people's minds as quickly as possible, you're going to be winning. And then consistency is the part that I find people struggle with the most. And the reason that you struggle with the most is because you're seeing every single piece of branding that you're putting out, and you're seeing every single piece of content that you're putting out, but your audience is seeing maybe 10% of it. If they're super engaged, they're seeing 30%, but it's unlikely. So Repetition is your best friend. The thing that looks the same to you over and over, and you're like, oh my God, another one with this Canva template. My goodness. But someone seeing two, three, next month seeing another one, it starts to form the idea of like, hey, this is a trustworthy brand. These guys keep doing what they're doing, and I love it. And by the same token, if you have a saying that you consistently put out there, like we get stressed people healthy, like say that over and over and over again. We don't know Just Do It by Nike, or we don't know Nike by Just Do It because they said it once in one cool campaign. Like they've been beating us over the head with it for 20 years. And I want you to do that. And this little framework here actually is actually the formula of how you get a cool brand. Like people say, oh, that brand's so cool. Oh man, I just love there's something about it. It's just so cool. It's literally authenticity and consistency plus time equals a cool brand. So think about that and just repeat yourself. How people experience your brand. Now, in the beginning, yes, they're going to see your visuals and maybe your videos and read some of your copy, and they're going to be drawn into that. But once they're in your world, it starts to shift, it starts to change. And this is the part that people don't think about is the game becomes delivering on the promises through the experience. So as soon as they formed an image about you, for better or worse, you've made a promise to them. Like, hey, this is a gym where I can get fit. Hey, this is a gym where I can lose weight. Hey, this seems like a gym where they're like, man, these people are strong. I'm going to get strong too. Now it's on you to deliver on that promise through the experience. And let's say they've in your lead generation machine and now they're in. And it's important that you only promise what you can deliver, right? And this is why it's also important to be authentic because every gym leads with get fitter, get healthier, have more energy, lose weight, right? You're going to come in here. The assumption is I'm going to go in there, I'm going to lose 20 pounds, I'm going to look great, my life's going to be good. And if you don't deliver that, it's a problem. They might not tell you to your face. They'll say things like 12 months in, they're like, I came for the results, but I stayed for the community. Everyone's really nice. And like it's fine that the community is a selling point, but you should lead with that. If you don't have a system that delivers that result that they're expecting as well, and I know many of you do, and people's bodies change and people's lives change, and that's what I love, and we want to represent that in the branding, but just make sure that what you're promising is what you enjoy delivering. So, and don't assume what they want. Like we kind of do this because we go, okay, most of the population is somewhat unhappy with how they look. Most of the population doesn't work out enough. Let's talk to that. Instead, you could like really laser in on the person that you want to talk to, have that ideal client, and say, okay, my client is a stressed out mom. Kids are finally all in school, and she hasn't done anything for herself in the last 5 years. She wants to come in somewhere and just have a feeling like something in her life is just for her, right? If you lead with that, you're going to get people in and they're not going to be upset that they don't suddenly look like something on Sports Illustrated from the 90s, right? If you're not setting that expectation. So don't assume what they want. And then when you do make a promise, like give them all you've got. Like really go in for it, create the whole experience around it. And I promise you're going to have a much better time running your gym as well. So this is actually how people experience the gym once they're coming, right? You think it's like, oh, they're going to check the signage, they're going to see how cool all my Rogue equipment is, and what they're thinking is like, oh my God, is that a dirty toilet? How did they greet me when I got here? Ew, they're sending me AI written text messages. Like, what am I, a robot? Is that dog hair? Like, where is the timetable? Booking the classes, is that a smooth process? Obviously, I'm leaning into some of the more negative stuff that happens because it's fun, but it's also things like the music in the gym. Music is so huge. Like if you take one thing away from this, it's two things: get a photographer and audit the music in your gym. Like I think that sets so much of a mood. A song can change my mood. I know it could change other people's mood. So being really, really intentional with that, and it not being like depending on the coach. If you're intentional about that, you're gonna go a long way. Now, let's get down mistake time. And if you've made some of these mistakes, like I'm not hating on it, branding is really hard. Like so much goes into it that, and I feel like as a business owner, especially in like this like age of the aspirational entrepreneur, you're supposed to know everything and only hire it out once you've made 100K a month. Like you're supposed to be like, wear every hat, and that becomes problematic. Like when I started my business, I was doing all my bookkeeping and accounting. And I have the tax bills to prove it. Like, it's a horrible idea. Same goes with branding. Like, if you're doing it yourself, give yourself some grace, because there's so many moving parts and so much you don't know. It's the same as when I do programming. Like, sometimes I have a coach at the moment, but sometimes I write my own programming, and it's like you would look at it and be like, this guy is I can't believe he's been working out for 20 years. He's so simple. And that's okay. But yeah, if you make these mistakes, give yourself grace. It's all good. Mistake number one is over professionalizing your brand and content. This happens, number one, when you don't know who you are as a brand. Okay. Like you haven't established your mission, you don't know what you're aiming at, you haven't defined your values, you haven't defined the unique beliefs that you have about fitness, about nutrition, about coaching, about life, about how things should go, and you end up just adopting this professional persona, right? And we all kind of do this because we want to be perceived as credible, knowledgeable, capable, but it actually does the opposite. We end up being invisible because now we're not standing out. Now we're not human enough. Now there's no personality to draw them in. So that fear of seeming unprofessional is undoing you. And the other thing is like you just don't have enough reps. You're not putting enough content out there. You haven't been doing this for long enough. You haven't been writing a newsletter for long enough. So there is a natural cadence to this that over time you go, oh, cool. Like I said, this little thing that was a bit dangerous, like sending a risky text and it goes well. You're like, oh, cool. I can lead in. I can lead in. So over time, you develop a comfort with being yourself and saying things that you were a little bit like afraid of saying, but lean into that. Don't make your brand too professional. Have fun with it. And I'll show you some examples. So this is, like I mentioned before, behavior performance research. Like their brand video on their website is like inspired by Wes Anderson. Um, you know, instead of saying, we developed the energy systems of professional and semi-professional athletes, they just say we do radical athlete design and our people are built to last. Customized training, stimulating discourse, radical health. There's more to health than sweat and muscles. It's much better than some of the like Peter Attia, Andy Galpin, like super scientific language. My boy Brad, he this is from his personal Instagram account, but it's very closely linked to Velocity. And Joel's laughing. I know many of you are laughing. I can't see all your faces, but I often get people DMing me going, "Hey man, like Brad's crazy. This is the stuff I wish I could say." So, I used to have the body of a melted candle. Guys will talk to the wife before investing in their health, but not before drinking or gambling. Losers look like a bag of milk, and your comprehensive blood work from your fat doctor ain't gonna cut it. Now, this all seems harsh. Brad is one of the nicest people, most helpful people I have ever met. And if you're wondering who this kind of, you know, semi-offensive language would work on and attract, it attracted me. Brad is my coach, right? Like about just over a year ago, I was looking like a melted candle and I wasn't happy with how things were going. And he coached me and helped me with all of that. And this draws people in. It makes sure that he gets the right client who could be self-aware and be like, hey man, this isn't as good as it could be. Help me. And one thing that he always says, and this is testament to repetition, is let's all win, baby. Every single check-in this man has sent me over the last 12 months, he ends with that. Every post he does almost always ends with that. To the point where like if he doesn't say it, I'm like, what's going on? Is he gonna fire me as a client? Like he doesn't want me to win, baby. Like so lead in, man. Just get and he wasn't always like this. He was doing the over professionalizing stuff. If you scroll down far enough, it was A, invisible, B, boring. And now he gets a lot of engagement. So shout out Brad. Mistake number two, aiming your branding at the wrong people. So this happens when, number one, obviously you don't know your ideal client. You haven't done a client avatar exercise, or you haven't really thought about it much. You try to attract everyone. This is very common. We all open a business and go, please give me money. I'd like to keep doing this forever. And you kind of blanket market and everyone's invited. Uh, But the reality is, the more we niche down, the better things become. The other thing that happens when you're aiming at the wrong people is that you start to make content to impress your peers and coaches. I see this especially when you first start making content. You want to put out there like, hey, the secret to fat loss is there is no secret. It's calories in, calories out. And then your mind goes, but I've done precision nutrition and I've done like OPEX CCP and Active Life and all the other certifications. And like, what's my kinesiology professor from college going to think about this? And I haven't cited any of the studies. And you talk yourself out of being relatable. Whereas if you don't have an ideal client, think about like your uncle with high blood pressure and how little he knows about health, and how if you just teach him a little bit, like, hey, uncle, eat a little bit like this, drink a little bit more water, make that content. And this is why influencers that infuriate all of us with, nuance and knowledge, they infuriate us because they simplify things down and they repeat it. They make 100 pieces of content about calories in versus calories out, and people are going to them, whether they can serve those people or not. It's attracting them so we can learn from them instead of being like, influencers are ruining the industry. Copy their content, attract those people, and then serve them to that high level that we know you're capable of. So forget about your peers, your coaches, your college professor, and make content for the person that actually needs it. My boy Mike, I can't see if he's on the call or not. He might be, or he'll watch the replay. But Mike runs Stoked Athletics uh, out in Babylon, and he is just one of the coolest people. His personality is all infused throughout this brand, and he just wants to have fun with it. The people who come to him are quirky. They probably have sleeve tattoos like he does. They don't take this too seriously. They're not there to look in the mirror and see how shredded they are. They want to get in, have a fun workout, get stronger, get jacked, like just have an all around great time. And instead of saying like, everyone's welcome to train here, we say like we're calling all brothers, sisters, dads, mums, misfits, optimists, and rad life enthusiasts of good character and willing body to report at once to Stoked Athletics. And this is on one of the shirts that we created as well. And I just think it's a much better way to speak to your audience because they can identify. And if you're not a rad life enthusiast, guess what? This is going to repel you. So Mike has to do a lot less consults that aren't going to result in a sale. And I should say, like the goal of branding is to get people in so you can sell them your services. Like I'm not just making pretty pictures here. This isn't art. This is creativity in the service of commerce. And I'm very open about that. And some designers get very precious, but really we have a goal to attract a certain person in a certain way, and that's what this does. Kim, I believe Kim is on the call. Kim is phenomenal, and I want to show you how like knowing your ideal client is like they have it dialed in, right? It's people who are in pain, who love adventure and being in the outdoors, are afraid of going to the gym. Like Kim is for them. Like she is going to, they are going to get this person out of pain or work around the pain and get them into the outdoors doing what they love. And if you want to know about niche, knowing your client, does anyone know what a cooler cloth is? Kim sent me this. A cooler cloth is what you use to wipe yourself after you've peed in the woods because you are environmentally conscious and don't want to ruin the environment. And Kim knows that her client cares about that. And if they are looking for a gym and one person has told them, hey, come in, train, we have personal trainers, and the other personal trainer has handed them a cooler cloth, they're going with Kim every single time. So that is the most niche piece of merch that I have ever seen created. And yeah, shout out Kim. Now, mistake number three, letting the crowd dictate the culture. I touched on this a little bit earlier, but we all know the horror stories. We all have them to tell. But this happens when you don't have set core values that set you apart. And I'm not talking about honesty, integrity, quality. Like those just get you to the table. Core values are things that like set you apart, that flags you plant in the ground. Things like if you're training here, you have to be respectful. If you're not respectful, you have to get out. Right? Like things like that. Or, strength is the priority here. Everything else can fall away. We're a strength training gym. Things like that where you're definitely saying we're this everything else can disappear. We don't care. If you don't have that, you're going to let the community create the culture. Second reason this happens is your team isn't aligned on the vision. Either you've hired the wrong people or they're just not getting it. And it might be because you haven't set it in stone and you haven't set it in writing, but there's things that you can do to combat that. And the third one is a very real one, and I'm not going to talk down to this at all. You're worried about people leaving. We've all done things to keep clients that, we feel like we wouldn't necessarily do. Like, "Ugh, I don't really agree with this person, but they pay me, so let's keep this going." But what I've found over the years in my own business and in my clients' businesses, the less they're worried about people leaving and the more they're worried about bringing the right people in to replace them tenfold, it tends to pay dividends, especially like if you're niching down and you're going, well, we're only going to work with business owners who have 3 to 4 hours to dedicate to their health and they're going to go at it with all they've got versus we want like 5 people who are going to come in 45 minutes and dawdle through the warm up and all that sort of stuff. So you create the culture in the gym and then the people tend to come. If you leave it up to the community, it could be beautiful, it could be chaos. Don't leave it up to them. Here are some from my clients. These are real ones. We have a guaranteed results covenant with our clients. So the gym signs one, the client signs one. They each have a list of responsibilities. As long as everyone's meeting them, results are guaranteed. If you're not meeting your end of the bargain or they're not meeting their end of the bargain, all bets are off. But if everyone's doing what they're supposed to be doing and results don't come, refund. Our music is super loud, but always clean. This is Raging Fitness in Louisiana, and they have a lot of families, a lot of 55-year-old dad, 16-year-old daughter is training there. Grandkids are around as well. Like everyone's welcome. It's a family gym. And this just puts people at ease. They lead with this in their marketing. They say our music is loud, but our music is clean. So when people come in, they're like, I'm comfortable bringing my kids here. Starting is hard, say hi to the newbies. That can be a cultural rule. And we've all experienced the fear of walking into a gym. But if you have it as a rule that you say hi to the newbies, and there's no punishment attached to this, by the way. The first CrossFit gym that I trained at, I'll never forget it. Everyone was so nice to me, and I was like, "This is amazing! Everyone's so friendly." And then we get around the whiteboard, and they're like, "Who didn't say hi to the new guy?" And like 2 hands went up. He's like, "You know what to do." And they started doing. I don't know why he has an American accent. He didn't. They started doing burpees immediately, and I was like, "Oh, okay." Like I feel shit now because they weren't genuinely being nice. They just didn't want to do burpees. So no punishment attached to this, please. So you can actually influence this in a big way. This is Basis Health and Performance out in California, working with them on a culture manual. So they are setting rules, putting things in place, and this is at this point for the coaches, but you better believe we're going to put this on the website as like the 10 cultural rules of training here and stuff like that, because again, it attracts the right person. Nothing will repel the wrong person better than this. And then again, back to Stoked Athletics and Mike Baranis, fast friends through fitness sounds a lot better than come train alongside a community of like-minded people who encourage you and support you. This translates it like in with personality. So don't over professionalize the brand, have personality injected into everything, and you'll get a better result. Mistake number 4, not systemizing the experience around the experience. Now, this is the part where I'm also going to plug Kilo. So, because you should have a system and CRMs and things like that really help out with that. But systemizing the experience around the experience, if we think of the key part of the experience is obviously the workout, right? It's what they're doing. Everything around that matters too, like we discussed before, and they're forming their perception of your business and your brand through this. Okay. So this is an opportunity for us to preempt their needs and deliver it with personality. So it's things like leaving the best parking spot free for members. The alternative is a friction. I can't park anywhere. And then you realize all the coaches have taken the best parking spots. Remembering their kid's birthday. You can plug this into a CRM. It can send you a reminder. You send them a text. As a parent, if someone did that, even if I know that it's like it's automated in their like calendar or whatever, I'm going to feel really good. Like I'm not leaving that gym at all, ever. Adding songs they like to the class playlist, which you should be curating. Vacuuming the gym every day, no brainer. Do a mini podcast a week for your members. Like this is underrated. I cannot stress enough how much your members want to hear from you, right? It's the reason they hang back after class. It's the reason if you're an online coach, it's the reason that they text you, hey, look what I'm eating. I'm having steak and beans. Like they want to interact with you and a little mini podcast every week, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, you harping on about anything like mindset. I went to Costco, there's a high protein thing, anything. They want to hear from you. Trust me. Buying 4-ply toilet paper. You can't say we're the most premium gym in Raleigh, North Carolina, and then they go to the bathroom and it's 1-ply or 2-ply. Buy 4-ply toilet paper. I guarantee you're gonna get comments like, "Hey man, that was a luxurious experience I just had. Let's work out." Writing them a basic program for when they travel. One of my clients, who has since transitioned into online coaching, one of his clients was traveling. He asked him, "Oh, where are you going? Where are you staying?" He looked up that hotel, saw in the images what equipment was available, and wrote him a program. Hey, while you're away, I know you want to keep your consistency going. I looked into the gym. This is the equipment they have. Here's the work. Like it takes 5 minutes, right? Like 10 minutes maybe. But the result of that is awesome. And you can systemize that. Who's traveling this month? Like through the conversations you have, hey, reminder to send this person a workout. You don't have to check in on the gym. It can be something simple, but as much as you can put a system around these cool bits and pieces that add joy to the experience of being a client of yours, and it's just going to really cement a positive perception in their mind. I'll show you. This is a like kind of like a lead flow for one of my clients. Preempting. It might be hard to read, but in the email after they've signed up for a trial class, what should I wear? Where do I park? I have some questions before I come in. Preempting that stuff is awesome. After the class, sending them an automated email. Your muscles got to work getting stronger. You provided your brain with fireworks and you blew off some stress, reminding them that what they did was just really good. And if they get this while they're sore at work the next day, going, oh my God, I've bitten off more than I could chew, hey, it's okay. And then like a weekly little newsletter, like Joel said before, even if it's a paragraph, if it's written by you and they can tell it's in your voice, just to hear from you, hey, here's my favorite song of the week. Here's something that I've been working on. Connect, connect, connect. That's what the brand is supposed to do. It's supposed to connect you to future clients, current clients, and past clients as well. And now it's time for action. We've got no more mistakes. I'm not calling you out on anything else. It's time for action. Here's some stuff you could take away, do today, tomorrow, and really bring all this together. The first thing you could do is you can send an email to all your members in your own voice, telling them about something that's on your mind. It can be programming, mindset, the vibe in the gym, anything. This is for you to practice that over professionalizing piece, to remove the over professionalization. Just do it in your voice. Hack for this is to do voice to text, record it as a voice note, transcribe it, and send it off. If it has typos, it's okay. If it's not perfect grammar, it's okay. I never would have said this 5 years ago, but definitely send them something so they can be like, hey, this is Coach Mike. Yes. Number two, define your ideal client, then write them a personal invitation to your gym, including one repellent statement. I'll give you an example. So say I define that my ideal client is basically me. Busy dad, still wants to work out, maybe got out of shape, and is ready to get back into it. We know that, and I'm going to send them a personal invitation. It's going to look like this. Hey, Boris, I know that you're looking to get back in the gym, looking forward to feeling good again. At my gym, it's full of like people in their sub 40s who are just trying to feel as good as they did in their college years, knowing that the hairline's not going to be the same. What I can promise you is that there'll be no 20-year-olds chasing mirror muscles while you're training to make you feel bad. So whenever you want to come in, shoot me a DM and I'd love to see you there. See, I've defined the ideal client. I've invited them in. I've said things that they can relate to, and I've repelled the 20-year-old who's going to make my client feel bad. it can be that simple. Number three, I want you to write three non-negotiables for the culture of your gym business. Now, you can go into a quiet corner where no one's going to see it, like, because some of these statements you might be afraid to show your members, like, hey, no gossiping. And there's like a whole group over there. One of my clients actually has this. They have a no gossip rule in their gym, and they're super militant about enforcing it. Like if someone hears someone gossiping, they have 24 hours to go tell that person. It's crazy, but like I think it's happened twice that someone had to do that. No one's gossiping at that gym anymore. People fall into line really quickly, and I think it's just so cool and like such a way to really plant your flag and stick by it. But I want you to write three non-negotiables. They don't have to be unhinged, but just write them and then share them with your coaches and then act on them, enforce them. And I promise you, you'll enjoy working in your own business more. When I've done this in my business, of like, hey, you know what? Like I'm not go. I start everything with brand strategy, and I'm not going to accept someone saying, "Hey, we have to start with the website," because I know that's back to front, right? The process is the process. That's the rule, because the process gets the best results. And anyone who doesn't want to go in that rule, even though the fear comes up, and I start thinking about the mortgage, and I start thinking about, oh my God, what if no other client ever shows up for me again? You have to follow through on it, and then what do you know? You attract the people who are willing to go through the process and get the result. So I encourage you to do that. And then the fourth one, look at your entire lead gen and client experience and identify the opportunities to systemize a next level experience. Literally, like every text you send or don't send, every email you send or don't send, every piece of content you put out, how they're greeted when they walk in, what the gym looks like, how it's laid out, what the scent of the soap is in the bathroom, like literally everything. Sean from Active Life, when I was working with him, he told me he took the whole team to a Michelin star restaurant experience in New York City, a phenomenal night out. Um, you know, and then the next day, like everyone was blown away by the experience. And the next day, they sat in front of a whiteboard and he said, "What is it in our gym that would not be tolerated at that restaurant?" Oh, that light bulb isn't on. The way we send emails, like sometimes the booking link isn't working. Like all these things, they identified all the points of friction and turn them into opportunities. And that's what you can do. You don't have to go to the Michelin star restaurant, especially if you're hungry and you like to eat, because you're not going to be full. But beyond that, I think it's always good to look at the whole picture and systemize it. And obviously, this is where something like a CRM comes into play. This is where something like having automated emails to nurture people who've left, all that sort of stuff comes into play. But it's all in the service of establishing your brand as something very intentional, as something that you want to bring into the world, as something you want to invite the right people into, serve them, help them change their life, and as a result of that, create a very positive perception of your company, which becomes your brand. And that's all from me. Thank you so much.
Amazing, Boris. Thank you so much.
My
I,
pleasure.
I did give out to people. We're going long, so hang on. And
My bad, my bad, my bad.
no, it was amazing. I wasn't cutting you off.
Awesome.
But please, like people too, out that are watching, if you've got questions, I would love for you to put them in the Q&A. We'll
Mm.
catch up on the back end, and we'll make sure you get answers to those questions. But I wasn't going to cut off Boris, and we had the ability to have him here and be able to pour this out to us. So some of the notes I made, I thought were like kind of bring it all together. Clear
Well,
message.
let me stop sharing my screen.
Oh, there we
Uh,
go. Well, I could just have a clear message, match the experience, make it easy, and make it human. I think those were some of the things I
Perfect.
took away from that today, which was amazing. And honestly, all of this kind of connects together because everything like the Boris shared with us here today is, and he mentioned there at the end, is all kind of delivered through the systems and how someone books. What happens after they click? What message do they get? How easy is it all feeling? And really, that's okay, sitting through this. That's the brand in action. And again, from a kilo side of things, we see gyms struggle at times, and it's not because they don't care. It's because, like Boris is mentioning, is those friction points that they don't even realize are there. Again, that's a big part of what we do at Kilo to help out with that. We don't just make things look better. We really focus on the experience and making sure that that matches what you promise. And so I love that Boris is able to get into that. Anyone on
Yeah.
this on the call that's thinking like, hey, we probably got some gaps in that system. Um, it's normal. I think that's the thing again, and so again, appreciating where Boris is shining some light in here because that's normal. I think lots of gyms are going through that. If you want help tightening things up, we're happy to help there. So yeah, definitely, like I said, drop some questions in here. Boris, we're gonna wrap up, but I do want to do one thing.
Cool.
If
Go.
if people could take one thing from today, what is the one you gave so many, and they're gonna dive
Yeah.
into this, but one thing that they need to do this weekend, what do they need to go fix this weekend?
Find a photographer.
I was gonna guess that one, but
Yeah, yeah,
there we
yeah.
go.
No, I think that's the quickest one from like A to B of getting a result is that one. And then yeah, if I was to do a follow-up of the second one, make sure all the systems are clicking, that things are happening and you're not having to do too much like people constantly going to you, hey, I can't find the place. Your Google listing isn't up to date. Things like that. Address the little frictions, but yeah, get a photographer. Biggest return on your investment.
Amazing. Love it. Love it. Well, yeah, guys, is one area that is pretty simple. It's going to have some huge compounding effects quickly. So get that. I think that's always one of the things that we try to recommend. Like, pick one thing, fix it, and then you'll start to feel the difference, and then that momentum will start to build. So,
A hundred
anyways,
percent.
Boris, thank you so much for being here. It is what like it's 6 a.m. for you right now.
6 a.m. I'm ready to
Well,
wake up.
so like there you go. I mean, like,
Yeah,
imagine being able to put this on from the 5 o'clock hour of your day. We do appreciate you carving it out for us. Everyone who
I
took time,
appreciate it.
I know again, gym owners are slammed. So if you're taking a lot of us, it's middle afternoon here. If you're taking time out of your day to sit here and listen to us, we appreciate it so much. So thank you for that. I did put in the comments there will be a recording available as we get stuff pulled together on the back end and sent out. So watch for that. We definitely appreciate everyone being here, and we look forward to seeing everyone in the next webinar.
Yeah. If I
Take
could just
care,
jump in
everybody.
and say a huge thank you to everyone. Like, um, I know we had a ton of like people signed up, and I know people are going to watch the replay. I appreciate every single one of you being here. For me, it's like I love my work so much, and I'm so happy to do it. And when I tell people that I do branding for gyms, like the confused look on my face, like no one gets it other than the people on this call and other people like us. So I appreciate you guys so much. You're doing great work, and yeah, thank you so much. Peace.
Amazing. Thank you, Boris. Take care. Take care, everyone. We'll see you in the next Kilo webinar.